Lee, I offer my condolences to you because I know Yogi was very special to you.
Yes, hi, Michael. Don, how are you? Yeah, my condolences to you as well. You knew him very well, too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a sad day. And you said that everyone that knew him was, like, close to him. And it's, it's funny the way you say that because, Yogi he doesn't have a bad bone in his body. And through all the years I've been around this game, Michael, I've never, ever heard a bad word about him. He's a special human being. I think we all have a tear in our eye and a kind of a hole in our hearts right now by losing Yogi. But what a special individual, no question. Affectionately, I used to call him Uncle Yogi. He was an uncle to me. He's like an uncle to everyone. Everyone had an uncle like Yogi in their family. And that's why we loved him so much.
And Lee transcended the sport. I mean, you didn't have to follow baseball, be a diehard Yankee fan to know who he was. So I wonder, was there ever a time, a new player, a teammate that didn't know him, didn't recognize him, where you had to tell that individual the significance of Yogi, or did they already know?
Great question. No, not at all. I mean, it's funny because I look back when I first started and when I was drafted in 1973, and he was managing the Mets at the time. And I went down after I was drafted to meet him. I went into the manager's office. It was the first time I ever met Yogi Berra. He was the first person I met in my professional life. And I was driving home with my dad, and I said, "Hey, Pop," because I really didn't remember Yogi playing at his best or seeing him during his heyday. And I said, "Hey, Pop, how good was Yogi Berra as a player?" And he said to me, just real quick, he just said to me, "You have no idea." And it was just put everything in perspective how good a player he was. And that was the first time I met him. So to answer your question, no, I don't think you ever had to say who he was to anyone.
Lee, what did it mean? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mike, I just say, because everyone says, he was so much part of baseball history, but people forget he was a part of American history. He's part of American history. And you can't say that about many ball players.
No, he was part of one of the most monumental days in the history of mankind, and the bravery and the Purple Heart. I mean, it just transcends baseball. And I'm wondering, Lee, what did it mean to him to come back to the Yankees in '99, and what did it mean to the team to have him around?
Oh, it was huge. Oh, I mean, listen, we know that he was gone for some 14 years, and he came back. I guess it felt like he never left, but the people, the players, you were around in spring training when he come down as a guest coach and what he meant to all the guys, the wisdom that he could give. He'd sit on a bench and just talk about the game. He was a walking encyclopedia of the game, the baseball game. I've learned so much from him as being just a coach, just sitting by him. Myself and Ron Guidry, oh boy, we'd have some good times in spring training. So, yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it's endless with him. It's just so much that he lends to people. I mean, whoever he touched, whoever got to meet him in their lives, it's a special day for them.
What were some of the things you learned from him as a baseball player?
Oh, he was always in spring training we sit on a bench and he always seemed to be one or two plays ahead of what was going to happen or where you should be, where you should go as a player. Or he talked about Joe D. And because to him, Joe D. was the greatest ball player that ever lived. You could never say anything bad about Joe D. to Yogi. And he'd tell you about what Joe D. did and how Mickey played. It was just a wealth of knowledge that he just would teach you every day,
What did he mean to Torrey?
Oh, I guess it was like Joe's big brother.
Yeah, and Zimmer too, right?
I would say. Yeah, exactly. So, that's why for me, Michael, I mean, it's so special that I was very lucky to be in that clubhouse and to have Joe and have Zim and have Yogi, the greatest minds that you had in baseball for 60, 70, 80 years. You think you'd learn something, and I think they passed that along.
Yeah, And the lines, we were just going over them, Lee. Nobody goes to that restaurant because it's too crowded. Do you remember any of the things that he said to you that just made you laugh because of just the way he put it?
Oh, yeah. There was so, like when he asked what time it was, and I said, now? And he goes, yeah. Like right away. That's his first thing, And, his greatest saying, and it was always the one where if you come to the fork in the road, take it. We all know that one.
Yeah.
And I could tell you one thing. And I was thinking about that just before. And when we come to that fork in the road, we see that road, what do? It's the first thing we say to ourselves, well, where do we go? But I could tell you one thing. And this might sound a little corny, but when he's up there and St. Peter's looking down on him, and St. Peter's going to say to Yogi, hey, Yogi, I could see you took the right road, buddy.
Nice, Lee. We really appreciate it.
All right, guys. Good talking.
All right. Thanks, Lee.